Unbelievably important. These 4 rec centers are by far the highest priority in terms of community and recreation infrastructure in the city. We've been promising them to the people of Southeast and Northwest Calgary. They are sorely needed. The catchment area has hundreds of thousands of people who will be using these. We know that our existing swimming pools and ice rinks and soccer fields are fully at capacity now. So they have to be built, and they have to be built before the kids for whom we're building them graduate from high school. So it's really important that we move on this quickly. How are we paying for it? So we had cobbled together a bunch of funding for these projects in the past from provincial infrastructure funding, the MSI, as well as the newly developed Community Infrastructure Fund. But we were also relying on some significant funding from the federal government in the order of about $100 million. That funding was pulled in November, and we found ourselves with a $100 million hole to fill. And thanks to the work of Karen and Kurt and their team, we have found a way to fill that hole without increasing people's tax rates. And the way we're filling it is a upfront payment from something called the Community Recreation Levy, which is what developers in new areas of the city pay, which will close part of the $100 million gap. The remainder of the $100 million gap we'll have to borrow, but we've identified a source of funds to pay off that mortgage, and that source of funds is approximately half of the City of Calgary's GST rebate every year, starting in 2014.
In 2013, our debt load is going to drop off dramatically. So this will just begin to ramp up in the next year or so. So we're not even going to impact that sort of debt capacity or our infrastructure. We've got to make sure that the infrastructure is here and is here today, not when my grandchildren, who live in both the Northwest and the Southeast, are already left home.